This is the first flip trainer setup tutorial. First thing you need is to find the right anchoring point. Right now we're in a gym with monkey bars, but it can be really anything. The perfect location that I found that is accessible to usually anyone is a tree branch. You're looking for a nice, straight, steady tree branch where you could anchor it that's high enough. And the perfect height to anchor this is in between 2.5 meters to 3. So here it's 2 meters and 90 centimeters, so almost 3 meters. Then I find that to be like the sweet spot for my height. If you're shorter, a lower anchoring point might be fine. In the gyms or outdoor workout places, usually places where you can anchor like a climbing rope or gymnastics rings are usually high enough to anchor this, but this is a good invitation for you to go out and explore your city to find the perfect location for your first flip trainer. When you receive your package, this is the full contents. You have 2 anchoring straps which have adjustable loops to adjust the height, because everybody's anchoring point is going to be different and everybody's height is also different. So this gives you a nice variety. Then you have 8 strands of super strong bungee cords. These ones are actually used for bungee jumping, fun fact. 2 spinny things to prevent your bands from tangling into each other as you flip. 6 carabiners to set this whole thing up, and the actual harness that you climb into. Now let me show you how to set this up. So what I usually do is I assemble the whole thing on the ground first, and I put one of the carabines at one end, the one with the bigger loop, and another carabine at the other end. This gives me a nice weight from each side to make it easier for me to throw over. Often when your anchoring point is too high, you might need to extend it with the actual bands just to get a better reach. So let me put these in, and actually I can do the whole contraption from the start, so I don't have to struggle getting it clipped when it's up in the air. This is how the whole thing is gonna hang from the anchoring point. And now all I do is I take my strap and I try to throw it over the ideal location of where I want it. So one of them will be here. Okay. So you loop it over, then you can take the top carabine off. That doesn't need to be there anymore. And you loop the rest of it through the big loop and tighten it all the way to the top. Now your anchoring strap is safely attached. Now from here on, you can choose the perfect height of where you hook it up to. This one often gets a little bit tricky because you can't really reach to the top of it and you want to get it as high as possible to get a nice stretch on the bands. So what I usually do is I find something to climb on. Usually if you're out in the nature or in the gym, there is something to step on, whether that be a plyo box, a piece of stump, even find a tire, or you climb on the back of a friend. Anything that can get you a bit higher to get it clipped in will work. For my example, I take this bench. Okay, I take this end and get it as high as possible for me. A good way to tell if it's high enough is it should not be at the level of your hips. Okay, because when the bands stretch, that's what gives you the support, the stretch. So this is one side set up, and I'll just do the same thing on the other side. When you're setting up the second band, you want to make sure you get it as wide as possible. The wider the straps are apart from each other, the more space there's going to be for your arm swing. So let's say if you only put it like 1 meter apart, the bands are going to be actually obstructing your shoulders, and it's not going to be the mechanics you want. Anchoring strap at the big loop end, then I take another carabine, put it at the other end of it, then I clip in the spinny thing. I don't actually know what these are called. Okay, now I am gonna measure probably about 2 meters apart from the first strap, and repeat the process. Now I can take the top carabiner off, we'll need it later, and loop the whole thing through here and make sure it's secure. Perfect. Now we can take the bottom out and clip it to our desired height according to our anchoring point. For here, I need something to step on to get myself higher. Now obviously, you can just do this at the start as well to loop it over. But I was trying to demonstrate you can also just throw it. Because sometimes when I'm doing it on the tree and I don't have anything to step on, I throw it over and then I actually climb the tree to do the rest of the setup. Last step, you get into your harness. Make sure that every strap is nice and secure and snug around your body to not fall out. And you're ready to go. Last two carabines go to these loops on either of your side. And these are the ones where you can now start strapping yourself into the bands. Let's get started one by one from each side. And if you're a guy, here you might need to make sure that your equipment is in the right position. Two, three, and 4. The way you know that you set it up correctly is that when you jump, your straps don't go loose right away. You get a bit of this floating motion. You feel like you're in the air. Depending on your weight, you might need just 3 bands to find the same resistance as I'm finding with 4 bands. I'm, for example, 85 kilos. So if you're on the lighter side, 3 bands will be the perfect starting point for you. But here at this point, I am pretty safe and I can't really fall to my head because the bungee cords keep me floating if I'm stationary. Obviously, if I add a bit more jump to it, I get more of this plyometric training. And then you can already try your first strap by pulling your knees in, leaning back, and that's your first backflip. So let's run through a quick summary of the setup process. First, you need the perfect anchoring point. Anywhere in between 2.5 meters to 3 meters is a good height. You make sure that your tree branch, a workout playground, high bar, what is it called? Like anchor loop for gymnastics rings or high beam. Anything you find is sturdy enough to be able to hold your weight and also straight enough to set this up that one side is not like 1 meter higher than the other. Then you get your anchoring straps, establish this whole connection as we showed in the video, and then you throw it over, loop it through the big band, and make sure that all the carabiners are also nice and secure with the locking mechanism at the top, okay? You get into your harness, make sure all the straps are tight enough, and then you clip yourself in one by one with the resistance bands. And then you're ready to start jumping. As you progress with your ability to backflip and your confidence, you're gonna start to take off one band at a time, which reduces the resistance and the assistance you're getting from the device. So now you have to do more of the work. So with 3 bands, you're not floating anymore, and there is a little bit more consequence. So right now it's gonna feel more like the real thing, which also is gonna prepare you for the real backflip in a better way. And this way you can beautifully progress band by band. So when you get down to 2 bands, again, you're getting less assistance from the device and there's more work you need to do by yourself. And when you get down to 1 band, you are very close to getting your actual backflip purely by yourself. Make sure on each of the progressions and each of the levels, you get hundreds of reps down to be comfortable and build up the awareness and technique that you need to actually get it successfully on the floor without hurting yourself. Lastly, I want to say a huge, massive thank you for everybody who purchased the product and launch. The journey of a backflip is much larger than just a trick. 12 years ago when I got my first flip, it literally changed my life. And my hope is that this device can bring the same realization to each and one of you. We're striving to improve the product as we grow. So if there are some imperfections or some mistakes or something breaks, please let us know and we'll do our best to resolve this. And hopefully you have good fun flipping on your first flip trainer. Thank you.